It's been a while since my last intra-Europe business class review. As a reminder, there's no special seats, they just block off the middle seat and serve you a meal. You need to temper your expectations. But I was curious what KLM's offering would be on a short hop between the dual hubs of Paris-Charles de Gaulle and Amsterdam Schiphol. What's KLM's European business class like? Let's find out. I'll be first setting my sights on Mes Amis Français, so if you want to skip to the lounge or flight review, click on the timestamps down below. I love Paris, and have in summation spent perhaps 8 months there, but Mes Amis, Paris was not doing so great when I was there. Here's a quiz on what was on strike this time.
Les révolutionnaires les plus engagés étaient surnommés les
A. Metro trains. B. Metro buses. C. SNCF regional and long-distance trains. D. Air France. E. Air traffic controllers. And F. Power companies.
J'aime bien.
Pas mal,
J'aime
hein?
bien.
À mon avis,
The answer is...
All of them.
I know the issues at stake, and that Parisians love to throw up the barricades at the slightest provocation, but it made visiting the city quite difficult. Did the metro run?
No.
The RATP airport bus?
No.
The RER regional train?
No.
Did they run extra alternative transport to the airport?
No.
Fortunately, I had decided to spend my final night out by the airport, so I had lots of time to get there. I took le bus direct from Gare de Lyon and stayed at a brand new Moxie hotel, which I was definitely not cool enough to stay at. This brings me to Paris-Charles de Gaulle Airport. I've flown to the airport for nearly 3 decades now, and to disclose my bias, it is my least favorite airport in the world. Paris-Charles de Gaulle Airport.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
I hate the layout, the transportation out to the airport, the peddlers and scammers, the unhelpful ground staff who are always on strike or doing a work slowdown. I'd never actually flown SkyTeam business class out of the airport, so I was curious what the lounge would be like. The Air France lounge in the Schengen area was located on 2 levels below the main concourse. It was incredibly crowded, and quickly became standing room only. I managed to snag a seat which had charging ports, but that was the only type in the lounge. The croissants were decent, but not befitting of the national carrier France. The smoothie was alright, and the orange juice machine decided not to cooperate. All in all, an underwhelming experience, though I get this is in the Schengen area and effectively a domestic lounge and on par with domestic US airline lounges, but I still can express my disappointment. I arrived at my gate just as boarding had started. The 737-700 had the typical configuration, and KLM had elected not to physically block the middle seats. The seats were fabric and just as underwhelming as my last Air France flight. The flight was very full, and the chipper crew worked to keep everyone moving. It's always reassuring to see your bag get loaded onto the plane.
Get over here!
Legroom was ample, and there was in-seat power, so that's fine, I guess. There was no entertainment or Wi-Fi. The captain came out to the aisle to announce that the flight had been delayed due to weather, which was very personable. It reminds me a lot of how Southwest pilots are. We pushed back 13 minutes late and took off in the rain. Flying time was 40 minutes at 28,000 feet. Obviously, with the short flight, meal service was quite rapid. KLM's City Hopper service has a set menu, but this mainline KLM service was less formal. We were served plain yogurt, some jam, cheese, ham, and an egg, and some fruit. I mean, yeah, it's fine, I guess. A croissant was served as well, though every mile we get further from the center of Paris, it seems to get worse. +1 for the creativity on the salt and pepper shakers in Dutch clogs though, and the tea was served in a nice teacup. We began our descent just as we crossed the Belgian border, 17 minutes into the flight, and flew over the North Sea before coming into Schiphol Airport. The captain announced the weather was, quotes, much nicer, end quote, in Amsterdam than in Paris. I don't know if this was dry Dutch humor or not, it was also cold and raining. The cabin crew did read out tight connections though, so props on the proactiveness. It took a full 15 minutes to taxi to the gate, and from there I made my way to the Crown Lounge and my flight in business class on the 787. So KLM's regional business class. Again, it's a solid meh for me, and no, I wouldn't pay for it and would only fly it as part of a connecting itinerary. But that's no fault of the captain and crew who were great, and I couldn't really have high expectations on a 40-minute flight. I was happy to see any meal at all. What are your thoughts on European business class? I'd prefer domestic first class in the US with a dedicated seat with streaming entertainment and Wi-Fi, though you do lose lounge access. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, click that button and please subscribe for many more flight reviews. I'll see you on the next one.